Welcome back. Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. Yeah. Insane. Absolutely insane. Such a damn shame. Welcome back
You're watching
to Young Tripp Reactions,
the show where rapper Young Tripp reacts to the latest videos on crime, drama, news, and so much more.
First video we're gonna do
because the show's about to start.
is
Let's go.
police rush to rule out foul play and Nolan Wells case. Ben Crump to the rescue. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me over through my social media accounts on FB and Instagram. Also, make sure you come follow me over on my professional social media accounts on FB and Instagram as well too. If you have any situations involving police misconduct, injustice, violations of civil rights, or anything like that involving you, a friend, a family member, even if they're not here anymore and the police, unalive them or anything like that, still contact me. We can fight for justice for your friend or relative. Let me know if there's a civil rights attorney involved, similar to Ben Crump or Ben Crump himself. We can fight for justice for you or whoever it involves to get justice. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And let's get into this.
Remember the coverage of the black male athlete. He goes on a trip with his white friends. He's the only African American. He dies. The sheriff is now quick to conclude that there's no evidence of criminal action and foul play. And there's another twist. Put it up for Mass.
Put it up for Mass, Jordan.
You're looking at the Mississippi sheriff overseeing the investigation. His name is John Ledbetter. He was in our initial reporting. He has now told TMZ that everything investigators have gathered so far indicates no crime has taken place, even after interviewing the friends Nolan was last seen with. Before I continue, cause and effect is in proximity to each other, simply meaning you don't have time, Sheriff, to conclude an exhaustive investigation. When somebody drowns, typically the conclusion of cause of death, or if there's foul play, comes from the medical examiner.
Absolutely. It comes from a medical examiner. It doesn't come from the sheriff. It doesn't come from the police. That comes from a medical examiner. And again, as a person who always wanted to be a homicide detective and be a police officer, I've never wanted to be the type of police officer who solves cases based off of skin color. I always wanted to solve cases based off of the facts and evidence. I don't care if the person that's a suspect, if they are black, if they are white, if they're Hispanic, Asian. I don't care about any of that. I want to solve the case and bring justice for the family. Some of you, I also, gain a lot of new subscribers now since, adding reactions onto my channel, getting subscribers every day. Thank all the new subscribers. Thank all the subscribers, even the ones who've been here since I've been doing music. as a person who always wanted to do this job, right? I want to solve the cases based off of the facts and evidence. And what I was getting ready to say before I made my announcement about the whole subscriber thing is, I even covered a case, for a lot of you who may know, over a former police officer that was on the First 48. And I did the reaction video to the whole situation involving former police officer Miles Bryant and the whole situation with Susanna Morales. Even as a black person, and even with police officer Miles being a black person, I believe that he committed that crime because of all the evidence that was there. It's highly unlikely that he didn't, but he could have not. But it's highly likely that he didn't. He was found guilty of doing it. I would still investigate the case. And if the evidence still led to Miles Bryant, like it did, the phone evidence showed that he was in the same proximity as where Susanna Morales, it's so hard to always get this word out, her remains were found, his phone pinned in that area, his duty weapon, his police push button machine, his duty weapon was found near her remains and where her phone was, right? They also tracked his movements, which showed that he was going in the same direction as her. He also, when they first interviewed him, the homicide police interviewed him, first he lied and said that I was nowhere near her. Then it changed to, well, I was over there in that area, but I didn't see her. This is a police officer that she trusted because she was going over a friend's house. She always went over the friend's house. He was always doing security over there because he lived over there and, did security for the place that he lived. So she knew him. And I'm guessing that maybe she asked him for, or he said, hey, I'll give you a ride home. And, did what he did. I mean, you can go watch the whole episode. I have the audio up on my channel. Now, even as a black person, I still believe that it's more likely than not that he committed that crime. And I would investigate the crime, let the evidence lead me to where it led me, and still prosecuted him and got him put in jail, even with me being black. But there are some officers out here that somebody can give a description, and I've seen it and heard about it, where they'll give a description that it was a white guy who broke in their car or broke in their house or threatened them with a weapon, and the police will say, okay, and write down the real description, and then they'll run across a black man running down the street and claim that he's the suspect, tell him that, oh, you threatened somebody with a push button machine, broke in their house, throw them across the car, handcuff them, jack them up, and everything. A black person, an Asian person, or a Mexican person, a person like that. They will claim that it was them versus really going after this white person that really did it. I've never been that person. Never wanted to be that type of cop. And due to my eyesight condition, I was not able to become a cop because of, one of my eyes being all screwed up. And, and that's why I do what I do now. Do these reactions and stuff like that. I would hold everybody accountable. I don't care what you look like. But you have some of these police officers out here who will not hold the actual person accountable. They will try to go find somebody else of a different race if it's a person who looks like them, who's Caucasian. Oh, they look so much like my nephew. They look so much like my brother. They look so much like this person or that person, and they don't want to hold the person accountable. And that is not right. It's absolutely insane. And then there's also people who, even though Derek Chauvin, he got 2 trials, right? His state and federal sentence and federal case, went to court, fighted both, was found guilty of both. And people out here will hold a moment of silence for a convicted, unaliver cop and hold a moment of silence for him, and be screaming that drugs unalive George Floyd when it was really Derek's knee. George Floyd took drugs a lot throughout his life and really needed help with addiction. Let's not get that confused. He needed help. But Derek's knee is what unalived him. It was not anything connected to his drugs that he took. Even though people to this day still try to spin the narrative that it was drugs or anything like that, it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt in 2 courts that it was Derek's knee. And people think that Derek should be let out, but Carmelo Anthony should get life in prison. His 35 years wasn't enough, even though there's a lot of people who believe that Carmelo should have gotten manslaughter, including myself. There are also people who believe that Carmelo Anthony should have gotten nothing. I don't agree with that. But there are people who believe that. But I believe that he should have gotten manslaughter and gotten the Texas ranges from 5 to 10 years for manslaughter. Right? But there's a lot of people who just want, because Carmelo is black, they just want him to be sentenced to 99 years because he's black. No other reason. And same thing when we go back to cases like this, when we go back to this. Oh, all his friends are innocent because because his friends were white. So they're automatically innocent and they look like my nephews and nieces. And you cannot do that. And I would never investigate a case like that. I investigate cases based off of actual evidence. So I just wanted to kind of explain all of that. I wanted to make sure I explained all of that, but there's a lot of people who think that that these cases should be solved by race. Let's continue.
Because the evidence, the conclusion of cause of death, or if there's foul play, comes from the medical examiner, because the evidence that would have been, preserved is no longer preserved on the epidermis of a body, because water destroys evidence of foul play. And so you find cause of death by way of medical examination. They have not done that in the sheriff's department. There's more. ABC reports that authorities said they believe Wells drowned, and they already conclude they do not expect foul play. But the sheriff's office stressed Wednesday.
But you're not assuming that not assuming, but you're not leaving the possibility that there's foul play on the table because of what the people look like. Again, going back to that, as a person who always wanted to do this job, I'm never investigating a crime based off of, I don't think there's no foul play because the person looked like me. That's not how that works. I have people on this channel, on my channel, who looked like me, who I believe committed a crime, and put them on my channel. that look like me. Miles Bryant looks like me. And there's tons of people out here that will say that it's always us black people who are racist. Oh, Caucasian, we're not racist. We're not racist. Obviously you is, because you don't want to take the possibility that his friends unalived him. I'm taking that possibility. If 6 black people, if Austin, I say Austin, think about the Metcalf case again. Mr. Wells, if he was Caucasian and he was hanging out with 6 black people, or if it was 6 black people and Mr. Wells was Caucasian, I'm going to still have the same opinion about this case right now. It's not going to be based off of race. If Mr. Wells was Caucasian and he was hanging out with 6 black people, I would be doing the case the same way I'm doing it right now. It would be no different about it. Nothing. But there will be other people, other bloggers that you can go watch, the other reactionist content creators that you can go watch that do the same thing I do, and they may have a narrative because of what color the victim is. I have seen channels. You know, I watch YouTube. I make music and other things, and I watch other content creators, other reactionist content creators, other bloggers. I watch them, and they have a specific narrative, and they're spinning their narrative in the video, not actually breaking down the facts of the video. They're spinning a narrative of the video. And all I do is actually tell the story as it is, give my opinion, but also state that it's my opinion, unless it's on record as fact. Then I'm going to give you that as fact. You may go listen to somebody else. They may tell you a different story, but it's probably based off of just a narrative of their opinion. The facts are the facts regardless of what somebody's skin color is. When a black person is wrong, they are wrong. If a white person is wrong, they are wrong. If an Asian person is wrong, they are wrong. It doesn't matter. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
That investigators are, quote, and they already conclude they do not expect foul play. But the sheriff's office stressed Wednesday that investigators are, quote, working diligently to determine exactly what occurred, end quote. But what about the delete?
What if what occurred is not what you really want to hear or like as a police officer? What about that? Because see, I know me. I would investigate it and solve it regardless. What if it's not what you want it to be? What if his friends, the people who look like your nephews and nieces, committed a crime and did something to him? Are you going to come out and say that? In Mississippi, of all places? I don't think you would. And that's why people like Ben Crump have to get involved. Because we don't think it will be transparency involved in the case because of the race of the victim. Because if it was the other way around, and as I stated earlier, if it was 6 black friends and 1 white person, so 7 equal, right? And the Caucasian person ended up unalived, I don't even believe that the 6 friends would be at home. Or if they was, they would be questioned, grilled before they went home. They wouldn't just be able to walk away like Mr. Wells' friends is at home sleeping good, eating good right now. The black friends would be getting the police banged on their door every day, at least once a day. And I guarantee you Mr. Wells' friends are not getting their door banged on. Nolan Wells' friends are not getting their doorbell rang every single day. like it would be if it was the other way around. That's the problem, and that's what we need to fix. We need to fix it where regardless of what color the victim is, the police have all the effort that they are putting into to solving every case. Like what we just saw with Javea. How they did everything when that family made the call. They were actually trying to look for a child and bring her home to her family alive. And then it took a whole 180 when they figured out that her parents unalived her. It took a whole 180. They were looking for her to return her home to her parents. Like, oh my God, this 4-year-old girl just walked away. And come to find out her parents unalived her. And the whole case took a whole 180. They weren't trying to charge the parents with anything. They weren't calling the parents criminals or nothing. They like, oh my goodness, a family called. They lost their child. They let her play outside in the dark. We kind of have to question them about that. But at the end of the day, you let your kids do what they do. And the North Carolina police, or South Carolina, I think which place it was in Carolina, showed up, tried to help them find their child. And the evidence that they uncovered discovered that the child was really been missing for a month and that the parents have just been living their lives. And then come to find out from them confessing that we actually unalived her, but we're not going to tell you where she is. But then they find parts of her remains and then figure out everything that happened from there. But go watch my videos on that. But I just wanted to kind of brief on that there are some cops out there, and those are the type of cops that we need, that will solve cases regardless of skin color. Shout out to Officer Sawyer out in Carolina, because regardless of Javea being African American, him and his team have done everything to try to solve her case and still doing everything they can to solve her case, regardless of her being black. And that's more of what we need. And that's the type of cop that I would have been if my condition wasn't in the way. Let's continue.
The messages, working diligently to determine exactly what occurred, end quote. But what about the deleted messages on Nolan's phone? We're going to get into that. Now, the sheriff wants us to believe that even though he has concluded, along with his investigators, there's no crime, he wants us to believe that they are still going to investigate it, obviously, as if there's a crime. There's more. Attorney Ben Crump.
And why would you continue to investigate something like a crime if you feel it isn't a crime been committed? Because you don't want it to be a crime because of what what the alleged suspects look like, because they look like you, and that the victim does not. And that's not how we solve cases. But again, that's how you solve cases. That's how Mississippi solves cases. Insane. Like I said, as a person who always wanted to do this job, that's not how I ever would have solved a case. Let's continue.
Dear brother and friend, he wants us to believe that they are still going to investigate it, obviously, as if there's a crime. There's more. Attorney Ben Crump, our dear brother and friend, is on the case. Family of Mississippi teen Nolan Xavier Wells will conduct an independent autopsy. We talked about this when we first covered it. It's important. This will be in Washington, D.C., following the 18-year-old's mysterious death. According to Attorney Ben Crump, who revealed new details about what he says unfolded on the day Wells vanished, the friends left Horn Island and went back without Nolan. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter said, quote, "From what we understand, he chose to stay there." Who told you that, Sheriff? the people who would be suspects if there's a murder?
Again, as I've stated, these are the people who would be alleged suspects. And you just taking their word. Again, because of what they look like. Again, let's switch it around. If it was 6 black friends and 1 Caucasian friend, and all 6 black people came back, but the Caucasian person didn't, would you believe everything those black people said? No, especially not in Mississippi. Nah. And you wonder why people like Ben Crump, young Tripp, Rashad Ritchie, and why we on this case. Nah, because you wouldn't believe it. You just believed everything that his friends just said. But if it was the other way around and it was 6 black friends and 1 Caucasian friend, and the 6 black people came back, but the 7th person, the Caucasian person, didn't come back, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe the story that, oh, he wanted to stay with a girl or something like that, or none of that. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
There's more. Who told you that, Sheriff? The people who would be suspects if there's a murder? There's more. Crump said investigators continue to tell the family that, quote, we don't see any evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation while they were on the boats. Crump described the altercation as, quote, Nolan and somebody yelling at one another on the boat. Attorney Ben Crump is not an investigator. He's not a sheriff. He does not have the apparatus of law enforcement and the investigative tools available to him. But he's able to talk to witnesses, and witnesses are willing to talk. There's more. This video is going around, has not been confirmed by the sheriff's office, but has gained a lot of attention. Nolan arguing with friends on top of that possible altercation. And listen, we have to go into these what-if scenarios and circumstantial evidence, because that's actually what an investigation would do. We have to do that here with you because the sheriff's office has refused to do so. And Crump.
And refused to do so. Absolutely. Because of what the victim, because of the victim of the colors, because of the victim's skin color, more likely. I have to do it. Rashad has to do it. Crump has to do it. Other bloggers and them have to do it because of, we know that the Mississippi Police Department is not going to do it. Crazy. And like I said, as a person who always wanted to do this job, I would investigate every case regardless of what skin color is. Let's continue. And due to my eyesight condition being in the way, I obviously could not do it. Let's continue.
Has to do so as well. Evidence, because that's actually what an investigation would do. We have to do that here with you because the sheriff's office has refused to do so. And Crump has to do so as well. And the family has to do so while grieving and putting their own child 6 feet underground.
Advertising, y'all.
Wells' friends told has to do so while grieving and putting their own child 6 feet underground. Wells' friends told police he wanted to stay on the island. Once again, the sheriff is relying on hearsay from the same individuals who would be the primary suspects in the disappearance of Nolan if there was foul play. I just want to make sure we clarify that. If, where he was last seen with a girl, but they took his cell phone. Crump told ABC News, quote, "That's not adding up to them."
Yeah, why would you take somebody's cell phone if they're kicking it with a girl? Why would you take their cell phone? Make that make sense. They need their own cell phone. Plus, he's young. He probably want to take pictures with the girl, get her number, all that. Why do you have her phone? I mean, why do you have his phone? Why do y'all have his phone? Let's continue.
The fact that where he was last seen with a girl, but they took his cell phone. Crump told ABC News, quote, "That's not adding up to them." The fact that then when the family gets the cell phone back, they're saying they are trying to understand why there are deleted messages.
Yeah, why is there deleted messages out of his phone? Let's continue.
So it's very concerning to them. And then when the family gets the cell phone back, they're saying they are trying to understand why there are deleted messages. And so it's very concerning to them. The woman who he was last seen speaking with around 3 p.m. Saturday has said that after they talked, Nolan, quote, Nolan said he was going back to the boat, end quote, according to Crump.
And so they found the girl. They found the girl. And she said after they were done hanging out, he told her that he's going back to the boat with his friends. I believe the girl. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
Another quote, 3 p.m. Saturday, has said that after they talked, Nolan, quote, Nolan said he was going back to the boat, end quote, according to Crump. Another quote. And then the boys on the boat said, no. Nolan told them he was going to stay with her, end quote. And so they are conflicting. Well, somebody's lying. Somebody has a credibility issue. It seems as if the sheriff has decided to arbitrarily take the opinion or the commentary and take opinion from their commentary that there's no foul play. And these guys obviously did nothing wrong. There's not a conflict as much as it's one person's lying or one party is lying and another party is telling the truth. And that's it. Very clear cut. So which is it, he asks. Crump also said Wells' father described the 18-year-old college football player as an elite athlete. He's 18, a college football player, elite athlete, wide receiver in football. He said that his son could swim.
And so that debunks the whole thing, gets that all out the way, that he just drowned, because a lot of people want to spin that whole narrative because there's a majority of black people and colored folks in general who don't necessarily know how to swim. So it's so easy to try to spin that narrative. And so I'm glad that the family said that he knows how to swim, because even in my other reaction, I was wondering if the family ever answered that, because of course they wanted to spin that narrative that, oh, he drowned. I'm a very strong swimmer. My family is not going to believe that I drowned because my father taught me how to swim. My school with my PE teacher taught me how to swim. My father taught me how to swim on top of water. My father taught me how to swim underwater. My school taught me how to swim on top of water and underwater. So, yeah. And so I'm glad the family debunked that he just drowned. So it definitely shows that something happened. More likely than not, something happened to him. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
And so the wide receiver in football, he said that his son could swim. And so they're just not accepting that Nolan drowned accidentally, Crump said. Another problematic angle of this case comes from a local Mississippi judge. A local Mississippi judge whose son was on Horn Island with Nolan. Here it is.
Judge Ashley Cole, who is the mother of one of the boys who was last seen with Nolan Xavier Wells, has officially put out a statement. And she's essentially saying in this statement that the reason that she deleted her Facebook account was because she has other young children and she didn't want their pictures circulating the internet, and that she needed to protect her child and all of her children. She also says that she went to high school with Nolan's mother and that they grew up in the same community, and that her son loved Nolan dearly, and that the last time that her son saw Nolan was at 3 p.m. and the boat took off at about 4:30 because they were having some issues with water getting on the boat or something like that. She also shares that her son was under the impression that Nolan was getting on a boat to go back to mainland with some other friends. But again, the math is not mathing.
It's not mathing at all.
Definitely not. Let's continue.
Again, the math is not mathing.
It's not mathing at all. The sheriff would like you to think he simply has drawn a different conclusion than you, and that's reasonable. You're not a trained investigator. You don't have access to the same information and measuring material as the sheriff. Without utilizing the full weight of that investigative capacity, which includes interrogating potential witnesses and also suspects, the sheriff has come to a conclusion that allows plausible deniability because there has been no exhaustive investigation, which means he doesn't have the evidence that would scream foul play. But evidence is seemingly mounting. Questions for sure. Put up the GoFundMe.
Put up the
We want to help
GoFundMe.
the family.
Yes.
They want answers. Doesn't make sense. An questions for sure. Put up the GoFundMe. We want to help the family. They want answers. Doesn't make sense. An able-bodied 18-year-old star athlete goes to an island, conflicting reports about what the official narrative is as to why they left him. He drowns, somehow accidentally. And the sheriff has already concluded the investigation. If you can donate, there's a lot more work to be done. Utilize that QR code. We will keep you updated on this story as always.
Mid-nursing
Advertisement,
school
yeah.
journey, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I reached out to Rasmussen.
Yeah. Also, to get to the GoFundMe, hit the link pinned at the top of the chat or in the link in the description to go to the original video and skip to the end. And then you can get the QR code if you want to donate to Nolan Xavier Wells' family for his funeral costs. Yeah, the math isn't mathing. He all of a sudden just drowned a strong swimmer. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think the girl had anything to do with it. I think the friends know more than what they're telling. And that needs to be more looked into. The sheriff just wants to hurry up and close the case. Oh, he's black. We don't care. Versus actually solving the case. Because the alleged suspects look like him or look like one of his kids. So who cares? And that's just a shame. Like I said, as a person who always wanted to do this job, I'm solving the actual case. I don't care what the person looked like. I even have reaction videos of black people on my channel. A former police officer at that, Miles Bryant. So I solve these cases. I don't care what you look like. You could look different than me. You could look the same as me. I don't care. But obviously the Mississippi Police Department, and we know how racist Mississippi is. So, yeah. Let me know what y'all think. I'll have the original video pinned at the top of the chat and the link in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me through my social media accounts on FB and Instagram. Also, make sure you come follow me on my professional FB and Instagram accounts as well too. Those will also be at the top of the chat and at the top of the link in the description as well too. Also, if you have any situations involving police misconduct, injustice, violations of civil rights, or anything like that, send that to me through direct message on my professional FB page or my professional Instagram page as well too. Let me know if there's a civil rights attorney involved, similar to Ben Crump or Ben Crump himself, or let me know if there's any civil rights activists, not activists, well, not civil rights attorneys, but I already said that. Let me know if there's any activists involved from within your area that's involved too, where I can corroborate with them to help push for justice for you and your family, to get justice for you and your family. So I can connect with them on that. Let me know if it's involving a relative. Let me know or a friend. Let me know if they're still here, that the police didn't get rid of, permanently send them to the Lord. He says maybe they want to be interviewed, or unless they just want you to give all the information for them. If they are no longer here, you can come on the channel and talk, or I can talk for you guys, for the family by just getting the information. However you want to do it, it's fine. And, we can get the situation solved, whatever it's involving, to push for justice for you and your family. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.